So previously we talked about how to be a good speaker, how to present yourself, how to control nervousness. So today we're learning about what life is like on the other side when you're not the one presenting. So we're going to talk about listening and evaluations. First of all, listening. Now there's a difference between listening and hearing. Those are two different things. So hearing is a biological function. It's the tympanic membrane that vibrates in your ear. And so you can actually be a deaf person that has no hearing, yet you can listen really well. Listening through American Sign Language, through body language and things like that. So hearing is the biological function. Listening takes effort, it's a choice, it's active. So make sure that you understand that there's a difference, and what we're looking for is listening. You need to be active, and it needs to be a choice. You can't just sit in the classroom and have your ears be there and call that listening, because it's not. The next thing is that you need to avoid fake listening. You think you're good at it, but you're not. I can tell you because I'm your teacher and I stand in front and I try to, teach, and I'm watching everybody because you're sending and receiving messages at the same time. And I can tell when you're not really listening, when you're zoning out, when you're not paying attention, because your eyes sort of have this glazed over look. We can tell when you're fake listening, so don't do it. Because it's really hard to think, I'm up here, I'm giving my best stuff, and there's a zombie out there that you're trying to talk to. So avoid fake listening. The next one is be willing to expend energy. So here's the thing, is that in a public speaking class, you're going to spend a great amount of your time listening to other people. And so when somebody said, what are you doing in public speaking today? Oh, nothing, just listening to people's speeches. Okay, that's not nothing. That actually takes energy for you to be a good listener, because I don't want you to just throw your body in a chair and be a body. I want you to be a listener, and that takes energy. So you need to make sure that you keep that in mind, that you aren't just listening, that you are being an audience for fellow public speakers who you're learning to do a better job, okay? And with that goes, you need to be prepared. Be prepared. So depending on what's happening in your life, if you need to have an extra water bottle or a Mountain Dew, or you need to have grapes, or you need to have gum, or you need to do something, bring that. Because I've seen in the early morning class that sometimes people get a little tired, and I need you to be prepared, to be awake and ready to go. You need to have your pens and your pencils and everything that you need, even the things that are going to help you be a better listener. That needs to be there too. So make sure that you bring not Doritos, because those while people are speaking, but other things that help you stay awake, stay alert, be involved, and enjoy the process. Next, you need to resist distractions. Resist distractions. When we talked about the communication model, we talked about how there's interference in every part of the communication model, and there's both internal and external interference. And that's what this is talking about, is resist them. If you hear somebody's notebook pop open, you don't have to go, what's that? What's that? What's that? You don't have to necessarily respond if you hear somebody in the hallway, unless you're close to the door and you should close it. But it's also the internal distractions. Oh, I wonder what kind of jeans those are. Wonder where I could get them. How much are they? That's a pretty color. Oh, look at that person's hair. Oh, is this class almost over? So all of the internal distractions that might be going on, you really need to work hard, because it's not just about you, it's about the person in front of you. I want everyone in this class to get the best grade possible. I want you to work together. I want you to support each other. And in order to do that, then you need to be a good audience member, that you need to resist all of the other distractions and say, okay, I'm here for you. This isn't just Tanya's making me show up. She counts attendance. Do you see the difference? So make sure that you're in. You're a team member, you're supporting, and you're helping them become the best speaker they can be. So you're going to resist distractions. Now, there's something called the golden rule of listening. For any of you that might be religious, they also talk about sometimes that in the spiritual context, in that you want to listen to others as you want them to listen to you. So if you want everybody to be nice and responsive and helpful, but you don't want to do that, you just want them to do it for you, that's not okay. So this goes along with the whole teamwork, the resisting distractions. You want to listen to other peers as you want them to listen to you. It's a give and a take, it's an exchange, you're sending and receiving. Remember, that whole communication model, it applies all of the time. Now, this one is reject. Reject. Electronic disruptions or intrusion. Electronic. So in our class we have the rule about don't use your cell phones, but it is amplified a bazillion when you have a peer that is giving a speech. Don't you dare be playing on your phone. You need to put it on vibrate, and if something does happen and it's like the SOS from the school, the speeches aren't that long, so if you could just wait 3 minutes until the person finishes, then you can get up and you can go out into the hall and say, "Hi, this is Joe's mom, what's going on?" That's okay, I understand, but to do that when another peer is speaking, So you need to avoid electronic intrusion, okay? And the last one is, they all go together, they're just different elements of it, is to provide encouragement. I feel like I just keep saying the communication model, but it all fits. So to provide encouragement, the best form of feedback is just nodding and smiling. Like, what they're saying is wonderful, they're doing a great job, you're proud of them, you can do this. So you want to make sure that you provide that encouragement as a listener. It makes such a difference. Being a teacher who does it every day, it makes such a difference to have a face out there that seems like, thank you for teaching me. And the same is true with public speaking. I'm glad I'm here. What you're saying to me makes me know more about the world or makes me a better person. So you want to make sure that you provide that encouragement. Okay, so those are the elements of being a good listener, and make sure that you understand these. You need to understand them because you'll be quizzed on them, but you also need to understand because you're going to put that into action many days. Let's take one of the smaller speeches, the show and tell, the tribute. They're like 3 to 5 minutes, and that's only going to be 3 to 5 minutes of one day, and those take 3 days. So you're going to spend a lot of time listening, and I need you to do it well. All right, along with listening, you're going to take it a step farther, and we're going to talk about evaluations. So in my class, you are going to have a peer evaluation for every other student. So that any given moment, half of the students will be nodding and smiling, and the other half might be jotting some things down. So that it's not like one half of the room, all of their heads are down, and the other half, they're up. They're going to be throughout. So you'll still need to do the eye contact throughout. So these evaluations, I'm going to give you the pieces of paper for them. You'll need to have your own pencils and pens and things like that. The way I have it set up is that you will write the speaker's name on the left-hand side and your name as the evaluator on the right-hand side. I need you to put your name there so that I can gather all of your evaluations together and go, okay, now Joe has all 10 of them. Yep. He did a thorough job on all 10 of them, complete sentences or complete ideas, suggestions, compliments. Okay, Joe deserves a 5 out of 5. And then I will take my scissors and I will cut off Joe's name, and then every speaker will get back a packet of the evaluations. And so you'll know what your peers thought, and you won't have to worry about what if they think I'm so mean, what if this is terrible, because you're not trying to hurt them, you're trying to help them. So we're going to keep that in mind, but that's how evaluations will go. Now, the first thing is that you need to listen objectively. Listen to the speech in a speech form. So even if you disagree with the topic, if someone's paying tribute to an athlete like LeBron James or something, and you think LeBron, and they're talking, he's so great, that shouldn't affect your evaluation at all. You can still tell if there's a thesis about LeBron, and if there's 3 supporting points about LeBron, and if there's a conclusion. So make sure that you don't take the topic and get all wrapped up in that. Make sure you don't get wrapped up in the person. If the person isn't your favorite person, or if you're really attracted to them, whatever the situation, look at the speech for what it is. And don't let your own biases about anything, whether it's the person or the content, get in the way of your careful evaluations. Next, it's okay for you to write stuff down while they are speaking. It is very hard to just nod and smile the whole time and then backtrack to the first subtopic and some of the things that were said or the eye contact that was made. So it's okay if you write notes down while you're the evaluator. But when you're not the evaluator, I don't want you to keep evaluating your old one. I want you to finish it, then be a great listener, and then start a new one, okay? So don't drag your evaluation out, so basically you're writing the whole class period. But take notes while the person is speaking. Next, you need to look for both compliments and suggestions. When you get a full list of compliments without any real advice, it makes you think, what? I couldn't have been that perfect. I know I wasn't perfect, but all you did was write the compliments. In order to be believable even, in order to be helpful, you need to have a balance of these two. If all you have are suggestions, you couldn't find a single good thing, well then we have to throw that evaluation away too, because you're just a mean person. So you have to have a balance. Now, I want the compliments and the suggestions to be specific, not nice job, you're great, well done, cool. You need to be specific about what it is you liked, whether it was the story or the analogy or the eye contact or the way they used their hands when they told the story about the fish. Be specific. And with the suggestions, if you're telling them to have better eye contact, then tell them why. I saw you looking above us a lot, so try to look at us one at a time. I felt like it was a general gaze, but I never really felt connected with your eye contact. So you want to be specific so you really can help them. Remember, everybody can have an A, and you're going to help each other get there. So think about that for your evaluations, is what can you say to the speaker that will help them improve. Let them know that what they're doing is what is working so that they can continue, and then what they can do to improve. The next thing is that you need to ignore nervousness comments. Ignore nervousness comments. Okay, so what I mean by that is there is no good that comes from writing, "Stop turning your face red while you speak." "Oh, your voice cracks when you're nervous." "Stop sweating, it's gross." Whatever it is, there's a lot of things that happen with nervousness. Do not comment on it, because if it's a physiological nervousness, then they can't control it. Now, if the nervousness, however, is their hands playing with their hoodie strings or their lanyards or twisting the hair or swaying, now that's totally okay. It's the physical nervousness things of a hand shaking or anything that has to do with something that they can't control. If you don't like the pitch of their voice, if you don't like something that they can't control, do not write it down. No good comes from it. Okay, so those are the, oh no, I'm going to write one more. I kind of mentioned it, but I'm going to write it down so that you know how important it is, and that it's a quiz question, is that you need to be specific in your comments. And I talked about that with your compliments and your suggestions, that you need to be specific. All right, this is what you do when you are writing the evaluations, and now I'm going to give you 2 things that you need to do when you receive them. Okay, so when you receive evaluations, the first thing that you have to do is don't be defensive. And I know that this is hard because when we talked about the reason why people are nervous, you're putting yourself out there. You're taking a risk. That's your personality. And if someone doesn't like it, it doesn't feel good. If you've tried your very best and it still isn't good enough, that doesn't feel good. So you have to work to not be defensive. They're not trying to hurt you. They're trying to help you. And so don't take it personally. I cut names off for a reason. I've had people, who wrote this? Who wrote this? Come on, it was great. You just weren't listening. Whatever it is, don't be defensive. Which leads us to my next one about how you need to strive for improvement. Strive for improvement one at a time. So there might be some comments that you see quite a bit about your eye contact or your hands, or at the beginning stop saying, I'm going to talk to you today about. And if those are repeated, those comments, and you're like, yeah, I really need to work on that, then pick that and work on that. I don't want you to have this overall feeling of, look at all these evaluations. I'm never going to be good enough. I'm never going to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. It's too much. It's too much. I'm so not good. Don't do that to yourself. Just pick one of the things that you're like, yep, this next time I'm going to nail that introduction. This next time I'm going to make sure that I at least look at this many people. And so you want to step one at a time. Don't get overwhelmed, and know that what you are doing is going to make it better in the end. We have multiple speeches. You'll get better every time. I promise. It will get easier every time. Now, along with that, you're going to have evaluations from 3 different areas. You're going to have peer evaluations, you're going to have evaluations from me, and you're going to watch your own speech and write a reflection about that. So basically that's your own evaluation. So you have your teachers, your own, and your peers. And what you're going to find is that they don't always agree. Like I rarely write, maybe never, your hands are gesturing too much. I never write that because I like gestures. Some people might say that you spoke with, it was too much volume or too soft, and other people would say it was perfect. So there is going to be some contradiction at times because it's subjective. So you as the speaker need to take all 3 evaluations and then decide, what is it that you really want to work on? Do you think that this comment, yeah, that might be true, but I think that it's worth it because of this, or whatever the situation might be. So know that it's not always going to be unanimous because we all like different things. You're trying to make it so that the most people are satisfied most of the time, but don't be alarmed if one evaluation doesn't match the other. So you're not going to be defensive because their grade depends on giving you both compliments and suggestions. They pretty much have to. And so don't get angry at that. And you want to strive for one improvement at a time after reading the 3 different types of evaluations. All right? So this is an important part of public speaking as well, because if you can look at somebody else and see what's going on, it really helps you internalize that as well. And you can say, I like how Joe did this. I better watch out for because Heather did that. You know what? It's super wonderful when George did this. So make sure that you pay attention to those evaluations. Make sure that you pay attention in class because you can also learn. You want to be a good teammate, you want to be supportive, and it's just good to be a good listener. Okay,